It's Tuesday, April 2. We have lots to tell you today. A release from the Ministry of the Presidency today said the government is committed to the upholding of the Constitution of Guyana and, by virtue, the March 22, 2019 ruling of the Court of Appeal on the December 21, 2018 motion, which was brought against the government. The release noted that as of Monday, April 1, 2019, President David Granger received and accepted the resignation of all coalition members of Parliament who are holders of dual citizenship. These members will not be returning to Parliament when it reconvenes on April 11, 2019. Our communications officer, Shaquille Bourne, visited Linden this past weekend and now brings us a story of hope restored after a tragedy. Let's take a look.
When tragedy hits, it can deliver a harsh hand. Nearly 2 years ago, a mother in Linden was ripped from her children after being senselessly murdered by her then husband. As a result, 5 children were left traumatized in a cramped house that was no longer a safe space. But due to the intervention of Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman in his personal capacity, a good night's rest is no longer out of reach.
Well, the home wasn't up to standard. It was a little house, and I was trying, but due to the murder, she died in the house, and the children don't want to stay in there.
That was grandmother of the 5 children that were left parentless, June Alicock. The grandmother reflected on the proverbial straw that eventually broke the camel's back.
It was very, very uncomfortable. Just a little house. We had one bed, and we had to lie on the floor, So I started to say, Sometimes my daughter slept on the bed with the children, or we exchange, But since the daughter died on the bed, nobody wanted to go in there. Nobody. We had to burn him a trap, burn everything, because the house was sheer blood.
A passionate plea eventually led to a change of the family's circumstances.
I decided to send out some letters out, and Minister Raphael Trotman responded. And here I am in this beautiful house we built for me and my children, my grandchildren.
Overjoyed by the compassionate gesture, the grandmother expressed her gratitude.
I'm happy. I give God thanks and praise and thank Minister Raphael. And let God hold him up and keep him strong.
The healing process for this family has now been made a little easier. Reported from Central Amelia's Ward Linden with videographer Jawan Jordan, Shaquille Bourne for InfoHub.
Residents of riverine communities, including Kokwani and other villages along the Upper Berbice River, will now receive medical treatment quicker as the $16 million water ambulance has been handed over to Region 10. The water ambulance complements a much smaller boat which services riverine communities in the Berbice River. Regional Health Officer Region 10, Dr. Pansy Armstrong, explained that this will be of tremendous benefit to residents since it is usually costly to be transported in and out of communities for medical reasons.
Riverine areas have their own challenges getting from point A to point B, and as the health team do their outreaches, as well as it will cater for emergencies, the people of the Berbice River will benefit from the use of this ambulance. It is the policy of the Ministry of Health for universal health care, and therefore if the residents can reach us, we will have to reach them.
Before the acquisition of this ambulance, residents of riverine communities had to be transported via the river to the Kokwani Hospital before being transported by road to the Linden Hospital complex. This new spacious ambulance will reduce the time it takes from a community in the Berbice River to the main hospital in Linden.
I believe that we are on our way to ensuring that we work towards having universal access to health, but not just having access, but having access in a timely manner, which will save lives. We're talking now of taking the persons not to Kokwani Hospital if it's a case that needs to be administered at a higher level. It means then that these persons can go directly to Linden Hospital complex so that that person can receive a higher level of care. So we're talking about time factor here.
This is the third ambulance supplied to regions with several riverine communities within the last 6 months. One was commissioned at Oriala in October 2018 and another at Bartica in January 2019. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes. Good news! To date, 113 Guyanese have already been employed with Guyanese Manganese Incorporated, the local company formed by Bosai Minerals to head its operations at Matthews Ridge, Region 1.
We're standing in front of what is called a crusher house. As you can see from behind me, both Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman and Dawn Hastings, Public Affairs, are here in Region 1 at Matthews Ridge. They're going to be doing an inspection of Bosai's operations in this region.
Guyana Manganese Incorporated, GMI, has set a time frame of July 2019 to develop the mines, plant and factories to begin extracting the mineral at the Matthews Ridge plant. During this first phase of construction, the mined ore processing plant, washing plant, warehouses and factory will be fully established. To date, work is said to be on the way. However, there have been delays due in part to land slippage. In the meantime, the company is receiving praises for its employment of locals for its operations.
We are going to be holding meetings with the management about issues pertaining to their startup date. I know that there's been some slippage, and we intend as government to work with them to regain some ground. I'm pleased that to date we have 113 Guyanese who've been given work. I am pressing them to ensure that the vast majority comes from Region 1, of course, but we're not to deny Guyanese from elsewhere, other parts of the country, from getting work.
Minister of Public Affairs Dawn Hastings Williams, who accompanied Minister Trotman, was also impressed with the employment figures.
They need over 200 to 300 workers. That's their need presently, and they prefer to employ persons from the region, Region 1 in itself, which we are happy about. However, there may be a challenge based on the skills that they would need here.
This challenge, Minister Williams says, needs to be looked at as a matter of urgency. Bosai has invested approximately US $100 million in this project.
From Matthews Ridge in Region 1, Felicia Valenzuela.
A report on climate-resilient housing was handed over to the Central Housing and Planning Authority, which will see the implementation of strategic housing development in keeping with the government's Green State Development Strategy.
The program is geared to guide policymakers in making decisions for strategic housing development in keeping with the Green State Development Strategy. As such, a number of initiatives are geared toward the lowering of carbon emissions within the city.
Mitigation actions with the largest potential to reduce emissions in Georgetown were solar PV installed on rooftops, particularly private buildings. There was the building of an energy from waste plant, so to actually generate energy from the combustion of Georgetown's non-recyclable waste, and optimizing the public transport systems.
That was lead consultant for Vivid Economics, Charlie Dixon. CHNPA will be looking to have these mitigations implemented in a timely manner. Chief Executive Officer, CHNPA, Leland Saul.
The agency will implement the recommendation coming out from these studies, and we will use the analytical tools also that will help us a whole lot in the development of new housing areas.
As it relates to the costing for the implementation of these mitigation, the report revealed that over the years, the initiatives would have little to no costs. Following these implementations, Guyana will be on course with the Green State Development Strategy, which will guide policymakers over a 20-year period to ensure environmentally friendly development throughout the country. Reporting for InfoHub, Nikosi Bruce.
Still to come, modern curriculum for grades 1 and 2 slated for September, and First Lady calls for equality in opportunities, employment and salaries for women. Details of these stories when we return.
Are you ready to embark on a truly epic adventure to an undiscovered corner of South America, where some of the most spectacular natural attractions are unveiled within a beautifully diverse landscape? From the wetlands and savannas to the ancient mountains, magnificent waterways and lush enriching rainforest would provide a vast playground for some of the most exotic and breathtaking creatures on the planet. including many of the world's giant species. This untouched land of mystery and wonder serves up an exclusive experience for travelers. So are you ready for a new, awe-inspiring adventure? Welcome back to nature. Welcome to Guyana.
Welcome back. Public health officials have ruled out swine flu, Zika, chikungunya, dengue, influenza A and B as possible causes of the recent spate of illnesses and death in Matthews Ridge. According to a release from the Ministry of Public Health, thus far there has been no evidence of person-to-person transmission of infection. It is noted that only persons who were directly exposed to one common area became ill. As of Sunday, March 31, a response team comprising the Environmental Protection Agency, surveillance, doctors and nurses, among others, were dispatched to Region 1 to support the efforts taken in the region to address the illnesses. The fortified health response focuses on providing uninterrupted health services to the residents of Matthews Ridge and on conducting health assessments of all persons working in the mining area. More on this story can be found on our social media platforms. Grades 1 and 2 learners will benefit from a modern curriculum set to come on stream this September.
We cannot, in earnest, be trying to train children for the 21st century if we're using a curriculum that is 2 decades old to do that, because then you're not equipping children with modern skills for a world that they're going to be facing.
Quinita Walron-Lewis, Project Coordinator, Guyana Early Childhood Education Project. She highlighted the need to tailor the curriculum to suit the current global setting in order to adequately prepare learners. This reformation will impact the standard of education taught in schools and is slated to benefit students from the nursery level up to grade 9.
What we are endeavoring to do through this curriculum is to really put the student at the center of the learning. So we are adopting a more student-centered approach to education. So this means that the education experience will come alive more for children because they're going to be thinking and learning through all of the different modalities through which children inherently think and learn.
The reformed curriculum will facilitate the ministry's push for the development of science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, spirituality, STEAMs in schools. The local education syllabus has not been reformed since 1976, and these steps taken are considered timely. Letitia Isaacs for InfoHub.
The need for women to be educated and involved in meaningful participation was recently re-emphasized by First Lady Sandra Granger at an event to observe Women's History Month.
37% for me, yeah, nice, but it's not cutting it. Let us look for equal parties. We want parity in our salaries. We want parity in our opportunities and our employment.
First Lady Sandra Granger. Noting that many women are single parents, the First Lady proposed that in the case of domestic violence, men tried before the courts should still contribute towards the upkeep of their households. Counseling was also proposed. Mrs. Granger believes that we need to recycle our girls, so they are educated and empowered while seeking ways of moving forward.
An educated woman earns about 15 to 24% more, a girl who has completed high school, than one who has not. Women who work contribute 90% of their salaries to their families, where men contribute 30 to 40% when they do.
Furthermore, our girls and women need to be educated and independent, to know their power and to know to make demands that come with that power. That is when women will start to move forward. The First Lady was joined by several women leaders at Food for Thought at the event, which featured cultural presentations and dining in observance of Women's History Month. The event was hosted in collaboration with the Ministry of the Presidency's Department of Social Cohesion. The First Lady was the patron of the event. For InfoHub, Kippany Jordan.
That's all for this evening. Connect with us on WhatsApp, like and subscribe to our Facebook page for notifications, and subscribe to our website for more stories. You can also follow us on Instagram for updates. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Goodbye.